What's up, Podsters? Happy end of summer. I say this every year, as I'm sure you do as well. I can't believe it's the last week in August. And I have to tell you that as someone who lives in a resort community, I don't know if you call it a resort community, Cape Cod, I live on Cape Cod, as many of you, I'm kind of here for the end of August. August is super busy with people on vacation, people either renting homes or occupying their summer homes. It's fantastic. It's what drives our community and our economy. And also, it's a little busy. It's a little hectic. Like the beaches get busy and traffic is kind of a nightmare. So while I love that people come here to enjoy their families and have a great time, I'm not going to lie, Podsters. I am here for September. I am. Fun fact, September is my favorite month. I'm going to tell you why in a second. Before I do that, I want to make sure I remind you that if you're listening to this when it drops, this episode's going to drop Tuesday, August 27th. Early bird pricing for my Do the Thing retreat, it ends on the 31st, which is Saturday. Here's what's up. I have 3 spots left. If you book an appointment with me to talk about the retreat, or if you fill out the application, which there's a link in the show notes, I will absolutely honor early bird pricing. I will absolutely do that. Let me tell you why I'm doing this and why I am honoring this early bird pricing. I priced this retreat really low. We all have seen the masterminds and the retreats that are like $10,000 in the Costa Baja and come and do your mindfulness training and swim with the dolphins or whatever you want to call it. And there's a lot of value to those, and that's great. I wanted to make this a brass tacks, affordable. We come in, we schmooze around a little bit, and then we get to work. And when you want to work or when you're working, it's going to be one-on-one coaching, group coaching, masterminding with each other, a lot of work on your own with my best, most powerful coaching tools. All of these are rolled into this retreat. You want to go do the exercise by the pool, go do it by the pool. You want to go out to the beach, go do it by the beach, and then we regroup. So this is designed to be affordable, flexible, and powerful. I guarantee you, you will walk out of this 2 days with your plan, with your accountability, with the resources you need, with the motivation you need, and with the colleagues and the camaraderie that you need to actually do this thing that you know you need to do. So click on the show notes, fill out the application. Let's hop on a call. There's no pressure, no pressure. Just want to see if it's a good fit for you. And I want to make sure to answer all your questions before you commit, because your money is valuable, and I want to make sure that this is the right program for you. So before I get into September, I want to make sure I remind you that early bird pricing is ending. 3 spots left. This is a very small retreat, 5 women plus me, and it's going to be fantastic. So fill it out, DM me if you have any questions, and let's go. So let's talk about September. First of all, Barefoot August or Barefoot Summer was fantastic. And I mentioned earlier, it was a little more lively than I anticipated, which is a great thing. I am very lucky. I have a great group of friends. We had wonderful visitors. I intentionally made time to slow down and enjoy Cape Cod, which is why I live here. So it was great. At the same time, I am here for September. Fun fact, September is my favorite month, as I might have mentioned earlier. By the way, highly caffeinated. So I might have mentioned earlier that September is my favorite month. Here's why. I love the back to school feeling. When I was a kid, I used to love getting my new pencil case. Who remembers the Trapper Keeper? Who remembers the Trapper Keeper? If you remember the Trapper Keeper, shoot me a note. Let me know you remember it, because I think we need to bring them back. For those of you who don't remember the Trapper Keeper, this was like a folder / notebook / organizer that young people, like let's say age 9, maybe to 16, 17, we used to go get our Trapper Keepers. And it was your kind of your binder, but it wasn't even a binder. It was a folder. It was like a folder on steroids. It was fantastic. I'm going to see if they're still available, because I could use a Trapper Keeper. Anyway, it was the young version of a filing system for all of your work. So I used to love the Trapper Keeper. I used to love the new clothes. To this day, I love fall. I love fall. I love fall wardrobes. I love fall activities. My fall uniform used to be jeans, boots, and a black turtleneck sweater. Kind of still is. I might vary with the belt a little bit, but anyway, love September. And at the same time, I know many of us, or many of you, perhaps you even, you kind of don't love it because it's back to reality. We have this amazing summer where, rules are kind of made to be broken in the summer, and we slow down. We travel less for work. We spend more time with our families. We spend time, with bonfires on the beach or eating outside or dining outside, all the things that we love to do. And then it's like, wow, September comes. Kids are back to school. Your travel schedule starts heating up again. The projects that you kind of put off in the summer, like, oh, I'll deal with that in the fall, whatever. Could be house projects, could be work projects, could be company projects. You kind of your own business projects. They all come to me. It's like a tidal wave. Like Labor Day hits. Labor Day's next week. Labor Day hits, and you're like, wow. So it's very easy to get into overwhelm again, especially if you have kids, because you got to get them ready for everything, and then you need to get ready for everything. And we can kind of have a little September scaries. So here's my question for you, Podsters. What if we can savor September rather than experience the September scaries? Here's what I mean. As you know, I'm a big believer in creating a life that you don't need a vacation from. And that is a luxury that not everybody can experience, because with that comes difficult decisions. This is really timely for me because just an hour ago I was out for a walk with Danny, and he said, "What would you change in your life if you could?" These are sometimes the conversations we have on our walks, and it's a great question. And I said, I wish I could see my family a little more. I would see my family more and his family more. I would see family more. And I said, but that's a decision that I made. And he said, what do you mean by that? Like, what is that? How does that make you feel? What do you mean? I said, well, what I mean is it's a decision. I made a decision to create this life on Cape Cod, which is 2.5 hours from Boston. Not easy to get to. I mean, whatever. You can drive. In the summer, there's traffic. You could take a ferry, whatever the case may be. It's not a hop, skip, and a jump from my family. And that was a decision that I made, knowing that if I want to create a life here, a full-time life, entrench myself in the community, run for public office, serve in public office, manage my business from my home on the Cape, fly out of Provincetown instead of flying out of Boston, whatever the case may be, that comes at a price. So when I say curating a life that you don't need a vacation from, that's not easy. And not everyone is willing to make those sacrifices. What I will tell you is it's available to anyone. And you know that this is how I feel. This is available to anyone if you are willing to make the sacrifices and the strategic decisions to curate this life you don't need a vacation from. That's a whole nother podcast episode. And if you want to hear more about this, shoot me a note on Instagram, LinkedIn, Nancy Medoff at nancymedoff.com. Let me know you want to hear more about it, and I will put it in the rotation. But for now, today, we're going to talk about how we can savor September. And this is going to be my word for September. It's going to be savor. Because if you think about it, I was talking to somebody about this the other day, and rarely do I, and, we're all the same more or less in this community. We're all very, very similar. And while we have our differences, we're more similar than different. And what I find, and I'm fairly sure that you find the same thing, is we're always moving on to the next thing. So for example, instead of viewing September as an end of fun, like what's next? It's the end of it's the end of summer. Well, now what's next? Now I have to, do the back to school and manage all these projects and blah, blah, blah. What if you can carry that summer energy into September and you can savor September, the month of September? Here's a little bit more on that. So September is my favorite month, as I mentioned, for a few reasons. One, we get our beaches back, for both from the black flies and from the vacationers. Two, the restaurants that you really can't get into in the summer, those start opening up again. People whose livelihood depends on the summer season, they are a lot more available, understandably. They're a lot more relaxed, and it's a time to kind of breathe a collective sigh of relief. For me, one of the reasons why I love September, again, this back to school, you purge, you reorganize, you get all your trapper keeper and your new supplies, and it's like a fresh start. For me, it's almost like New Year's. Speaking of which, I legit saw an ad for New Year's Eve. New Year's. I saw an ad last week. So this is what I mean. Why are we rushing into New Year's? Why is there Halloween candy already on the shelves? It's August. It's August. First of all, who's buying their Halloween candy now? If that's you, I'd like to understand why. Like, you have 8 weeks to buy it. So why are you buying it now? Anyway, why are they even putting it out now? So this is what I mean. It's that on to the next thing. And of course, retailers are going to do that. Retailers are going to do that. And in our head, it's on to next. What's next? What's next? What's next? So you can savor where you are. And that looks like a few different things. One, I'm going to talk about how to savor September, but I want to talk about you and your career and your life. You can savor if you are in a role where you're kind of on top of your game. You don't have to chase the next promotion. Savor the fact that you know what you're doing, you like what you're doing, and you're on top of your game. Great. Enjoy that for a little while. With your business, if you're at a point where you're making a comfortable income, sure, you might want to make more money. That's great. You might want to level up your business, launch a few things. Yes. And also savor the fact that you're at a place where you're comfortable with how your business is. Yes, we're overachievers on this podcast. We're going to want to strive for more. What I will say is you can hang on a minute. You can hang on and enjoy where you are. So savor, enjoy, whatever you want to call it, where you are at the moment. This is career-wise and business-wise. Okay, so let's talk about how we are going to savor September. Here's 3 things that I'm going to do that I think you will like as well. The first is to try to replicate that feeling of freedom. So, I was really thinking about what is it that I love about summer? And one of the things I love is, kind of the freedom to be outside walking around. For us cold climate people, we know that we only have a few months of the year where we can, for example, al fresco dine, eat outside. I love al fresco dining. I love it. And that's one of the things I love about summer. It's that being able to sit outside and people watch and, enjoy. So one of the things I'm doing is I am scheduling that into my fall, as far into my fall as I can. So I haven't done it yet, but I have a list of restaurants that I want to go to, and I'm gonna make these reservations. And it sounds simple, Podsters, but let me tell you why it's really it's psychologically helpful. If I wait until October to make a reservation for a dining outside somewhere, which is one of the things I love most about summer. So if I wait until October's going to roll around and we're like, oh, it's too cold and I can't get in, or yeah, the weather doesn't look great. If I have the reservations, it's on the books, I am meeting people or looking forward to it or whatever the case may be, I will honor that choice. I'll bundle up and I'll go outside. We all showed during COVID that we could enjoy outdoor dining long into the season or the fall season. So what is it about summer? For me, it's that feeling of freedom. And for me, that means one of the things I love most is the freedom to be able to move around outside and enjoy dining outside and all that stuff. So I'm going to make that a priority and I'm going to schedule that. Maybe for you, it's more time with your family, more time with your kids, more time with your partner, whatever. So if it's more time with your family, get these time blocks scheduled into September. Schedule some fun family outings. Maybe it's a hike. Maybe it's apple picking. Maybe it's pumpkin picking. Maybe it's, who knows? But it's not going to the beach with your family. Maybe it is to some extent. It's the time with your family. That's why many of us love summer so much. So how can you replicate that in your day-to-day? All right. Number 2. This is a big one for me. I call this curating your commitments. And what I mean by this is to take a look at your calendar. I would even suggest September and October. And when you have something come to you, an invitation, could be work, could be personal. Think about, will I want to do this when the time comes? I heard that on a podcast a long time ago, several years ago. And I'm like, what a great idea. Like, it sounds good now, but when the moment comes, when I'm in the moment, when it's September 15th or 14th, or when it's September 27th or whatever, and everything else that's going on and everything else I have available and everything else that's going on in my life, am I going to want to do it? And I make that decision before I commit. I'm doing this already, Podsters. So I got a couple of invitations for September. They are events that I really think would be fun. Now and I'm thinking about it and saying, okay, am I going to want to do it at the time? Now it sounds like fun. Now I'm in barefoot summer mode. When I'm in the swing of things later in September, and there's, September is my favorite month. It is beautiful time on Cape Cod. Weekends are at a premium. Am I going to want to do this? And there have been a few where I haven't turned them down yet, but I haven't really committed yet because I'm like, I don't think I'm going to want to do it. I think I'm going to overschedule myself, which is something that I do and I'm trying to get better at. I think I'm going to overschedule myself. So I have said no, or I haven't responded yet. And I am building in that time, building in just a little bit of time, which is a natural segue to number 3, which is leave space for spontaneity. So here's what I mean by that. Last weekend, I did not make any plans for the weekend. And that was on purpose. I'm like, okay, we don't have any plans. Let's not make any. Let's hang out. Let's do some stuff around the house. Let's whatever. And we had a couple friends stop by. It was actually pretty funny. I was looking out my office window and I saw this car like staring at my house. So I went outside and it was my friends and they wanted to see if we were home, blah, blah, blah. Anyway, so we were home. We hung out a little bit and then we said, hey, you want to go to lunch? We ended up spending most of the day together. We went to the town next door. We acted like tourists. We schmied around a little bit. We kind of walked around the shops. We went out to lunch. We called another friend and we had this fantastic, spontaneous, really enjoyable day. And if I didn't leave room for that spontaneity, that wouldn't have happened. I would have rushed them out of the house. I would have said, hey, so great to see you guys, but we have to go do blah, 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 blah. And that's hard to do. So my suggestion is that you block off a weekend or block off some evenings and just don't make plans. Maybe it's the same evening every month. Every week. Maybe it's 2 weekends. Maybe it's one day on the weekend. However you can do it. When you have plans every day of the weekend, you can't be spontaneous. And it's hard to really relax, even if the activities are, quote, relaxing, air quote. It's kind of hard to relax because you have something coming up next. So leaving space for spontaneity, I'm going to read to you what I wrote down here. Allow yourself the flexibility to say yes to unexpected opportunities or simply enjoy moments of relaxation without any pressure. To me, that is gold. That is gold. When I have like a couple days in a row with not a lot scheduled, pure gold. So who's that? Whose responsibility is that? It's my responsibility. So if I love it that much, I need to curate my commitments, leave space for spontaneity, and savor September. So here's the last thing I'm going to suggest. And I do this at the risk of sounding like a broken record. I saw this challenge and it was like a phone challenge and how to spend less time on your phone. And the first thing they have you do is take a look at your screen time and times that out over the year. So see what your average is per week or per day and times that out over 52 weeks or 365 days. And you will be stunned at how much time you spend on your phone. Now, for me, I work a lot off of my phone. I work a ton off my phone. My G Drive is on my phone. All of my project management apps are on my phone. I respond to emails on my phone. Like that's a big part of it. And also, I was spending more time on my phone than I wanted to. So one of the things they have you do is there's a feature on your phone. This is so fascinating to me, Podsters. And it's so interesting to me. So it's called downtime. Now, this is different. I have my phone, it's scheduled to go into sleep mode or nighttime mode at 8 o'clock every night. It reminds me to go to bed. I use all those features. This is downtime. What this is, you cannot use your apps. So if you schedule downtime on your phone, you can't use your apps. can't use them. You can see them, but you can't use them. So I tried this for a few days and I'm like, wow, this is really interesting. I use my phone a lot more than I think I do. So I stopped using it because I wanted to use my apps. But here's what here's my the thought I had. Why can't people just turn their phone off? So this downtime basically in essence shuts down your phone. You can't use it. So why not just turn it off? And it got me thinking, we are so conditioned to have our phones and be available that we can't even turn our phones off. This was really interesting to me. So listen, Podsters, this is another way that I'm going to try to savor September is to use my phone less. Is basically it. I throw in the PSA about the downtime because it really blew me away that you schedule your phone to be off. Why wouldn't you just turn it off? I don't understand. So you can see your messages. Well, you can't see your messages because nothing works on your phone. The whole thing was really fascinating to me. Anyway, my point is this. Can you approach the fall or approach September as something to savor rather than something to stress you out? Three things. Try to replicate that feeling of freedom from the summer. Curate your commitments, which we are very big on over here at Unmute Yourself, the podcast, and leave space for spontaneity. That is my wish for you, Podsters. We have got some very cool guests coming up. I have a lot of podcast interviews coming up in September. We have a burnout specialist coming up. We have a energy management and subconscious mindset strategist coming up. We have some big business leaders coming up. So stay tuned over here at Unmute Yourself, the podcast, Podsters, because this is going to be an epic fall season. And with that, peace out. I wish you nothing but fun the rest of the summer and that you can roll into September ready to savor the season. Peace out, Podsters.